On your screen you can see is one building or one house, and this is what are the mechanical systems, how the mechanical system works, that we will learn in details. The first one is heating. This is the heating of the building which comes outside from the environment. The second one is the ventilation. Outside fresh air, that is oxygen coming in, and exhaust, which is the bad air, is going out from the building. That is a ventilation systems. The third one is air conditioning systems. That is removing the heat by reducing the temperature inside a building. Okay, so what is heating is? Heat is coming outside from coming inside the building from the environment. Okay, the ventilation is moving out a bad air from the building and letting oxygen to come inside the building, and air conditioning is removing the heat by reducing the temperature inside the building. Okay, so how much the air conditioning, that is cooling, required to measure the cooling load? Same like when we consume the water, it was measured in liters. If we are talking about a cooling load, how much a cooling is used, that means how much the energy has been consumed, that will be measured in kilowatt. Okay, so what are the kilowatt, how much cooling it is required, that I'll just know. So before that, let me start with the heating process. What are the heating process is associated? The first one is what you see on your screen is a water is at 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, which is considered as a normal room temperature. Okay, so when we heat this water, when we put this with this vessel onto a stove and slowly start heating this water, it will raise a temperature to from 15 to maybe 30, 40, 50 up to 100 degrees Celsius. Then once it reaches to the 100 degrees Celsius, the water start to boil. Okay, so what is on your screen is a 15.6 degrees Celsius water. When we put this on the stove, it will start heating, which is known as your sensible heat, and it will reach to 100 degrees Celsius. So water at 15 degrees Celsius becomes water at 100 degrees Celsius, but there is no change in the state. Okay, the water just about to boil. So the state is same, a 15 degrees Celsius water becomes 100 degrees Celsius of water, which is known as your sensible heat. The next one is when a water reached at 100 degrees Celsius, when you keep on boiling this water, it will reach to your 100 degrees Celsius of vapor. Okay, so here the state is changing from liquid to gas. So water at 100 degrees Celsius becomes water at vapor at 100 degrees Celsius. So to convert this water into your vapor, but keeping a temperature same, it is known as latent heat. Okay, so what is happening in your sensible heat is no change in the state. Water becomes water. What is happening in your latent heat is the state is changing. The water becomes into vapor. So this is known as your latent heat. And the total of this two is known as your total heat. It is required to convert a water into gas. Okay, so this is how the heating process works. Now we will go back to cooling process. So this what we have learned is heating process. Now we will go to the cooling process. Just I want to explain you heating process. so that you will have an idea what is sensible heat it is required and what is a sensible what is the latent heat it is required. The second is the cooling process, which is our actual air conditioning process, and this is the process which is happening in your actual air conditioning system. Let's say a vapor, it is collected and it is condensed to water. Okay, that means a moisture which is there in the air, it is collected and it is condensed to the water. Okay, so that means what we are doing is a air which is having a moisture, a water droplet which is there in the vapor form. What we need to do is we need to remove this water content from the air. That is known as latent cooling process. What was a liquid to vapor was a latent heating process. When we are condensing a vapor to a liquid, which is known as latent cooling process. Vapor to liquid. What's next is sensible cooling process. Sensible cooling process is liquid to liquid. When you are reducing a temperature from 100 to 15 degrees Celsius, that is known as your sensible cooling. Okay, so that means, let's say for example, there is a moisture present in the air that has to be condensed to the liquid. Okay, that is known as your latent cooling. And a heat which is present inside a room, that has to be reduced. That means a room is at 40 or 45 degrees Celsius. We need to remove this heat. We need to cool down this room. Okay, the air heating has to be reduced. So that is known as our sensible cooling. And together this process, the latent cooling plus sensible cooling, it is known as total cooling. Okay, so this is what this is how